Welcome back, guys. We have our week 14 preview here where we're going to go over the best streamer options for this upcoming week in fantasy hockey. We're going to cover all the forwards, defensemen, and goalies that you need to get you an absolute dub in your upcoming fantasy hockey week. Let's get right into it, guys. Here is your week 14 preview. Lot of good options for this week. Very typical schedule out of the NHL in terms of the off nights. Like I said, a lot of the times it's the same thing that the NHL likes to run: the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday, and the Sunday as their off nights. And then the busy nights are the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Saturday, which we'll cover. But those are pretty heavy this week, and we've got some good options. The Canucks and the Caps especially are going to have 4 games this week with 3 off nights. And then a lot of teams play 4 games this week, along with a couple that have 2 off nights, which are the Canes, the Avs, and the Kraken. And then a plethora of teams that have 4 games and 1 off night. For your min-max game schedule, that's going to get you the maximum amount of games with the maximum amount of off nights. You're going to want to pick up a Canuck, an Av, a Cap, or a Panther to start off your week. This is going to get you 2 off nights on the Monday and the Wednesday, and then you're going to drop that player for a Carolina Hurricane who is going to play on the Wednesday, and then is going to get you 2 off nights on the Friday and the Sunday as well. That will be your min-max. That should get you 5 games on the week with 4 off nights. So be sure to do that if you're trying to maximize your output for this upcoming fantasy hockey week. Moving on to the worst nights. If you have a Pred or an Islander, they're only going to get 2 games this week, and they're both on busy nights. So again, if you can afford to drop a player from one of these teams, definitely go ahead and do so, and then pick up one of the guys that I'm going to mention in the next slide here. Really trying to focus on the teams that have really good schedules, and there's a good amount of quality options here for this week 14. We've got DeBrusk and Garland, both from Vancouver. It's really just pick your poison as to what you want. DeBrusk is currently line 1, so I have preference over him, but Elias Pettersson is coming back into the lineup along with Quinn Hughes. They have both been skating and should be good to go for this upcoming week. So again, look for Garland as well as DeBrusk if they are available in your leagues. Again, they are pretty high ownership. Jonathan Drouin has been a great option. He's been producing at a decent rate. The shot volume's been there, like 2 to 3 shots a game, and then he'll chip in like either a couple blocks or a couple hits here and there. But on the nights that he doesn't really have that peripheral floor that you see out of these high-end players, he just needs to produce in order to get you points. But he is skating line 1 and power play 1, which is best case scenario for Drouin, especially due to the fact that they loaded up that top line with McKinnon and Rantanen. So definitely be sure to grab Drouin if he's available in your league. I think he's a great option right now, especially for those of you in some deeper leagues that might be able to snag him while he's still low ownership. Pierre-Luc Dubois has been incredibly consistent for the Caps, basically grabbing an assist in almost every game for the last 10. He's been skating on that second line as well. He's been great. Only 27% owned, so if you want to snag somebody for this upcoming week with a great schedule and you can't get to a Garland or a DeBrusk, definitely make sure that you grab Dubois. And then Jaden Schwartz, again, is a really solid option if you're trying to start off your week with a good player or end it with a good player. He's skating line 1, power play 1, only 10% owned. He's got a great shot volume along with some goal upside as well. He's been scoring a ton lately in his last 10 games. Center left wing eligible, so should be easy to fit right into your lineup for week 14. Matty Beniers is very similar to Jaden Schwartz, skates at 5-on-5 alongside of him, but he's going to give you a different kind of outlook on that power play 2, skating alongside Shane Wright, who's been really hot as of late, and Brandon Montour, whereas Schwartz is going to get you that exposure to Jared McCann and Vince Dunn on that more or less top power play unit. They split up their power play units, so it really just depends on what you're looking for. Similar ownership as well. Beniers is only center eligible, but I think he's been a little bit more hot as of late in the last 5 games. If you take a look at his game log, he's got a decent production rate as of late. So I think he's a pretty good option. I just think Schwartz gets you a little bit more in terms of the floor with the shot volume. Alexei Protas has been solid. He's just a little bit inconsistent for my liking. I would have included him on that top slide. But again, the consistency hasn't really been there on a game-to-game basis like Dubois has. But when he does pop off, he's normally scoring quite a bit. He's got a decent shot volume as well. But again, inconsistency. There will just be some games where he'll get you absolutely nothing and like 0 shots. And the next game, he'll have like 4 shots and a goal. So it depends on what you're looking for. Skating line 2 as well and getting no power play time. That's the other reason why he was on that top slide. But again, really good option for this week if you want exposure to a Washington Capital. Ross Colton, skating line 2, 18% owned, line 2, power play 2. Again, just good option for this upcoming week. He shoots, he blocks, he hits. The production's been, again, inconsistent, but I think he's a decent option for this upcoming week, especially if you want to start off by streaming him and then pivot to, like I said, a Carolina Hurricane player. Marco Rossi, guys, just pick this guy up, please, man. Like, he's been absolutely phenomenal the entire season. He's having a big breakout year skating on that top line and power play one. This is with Kaprizov being out of the lineup in the last couple games. He's continued to produce. Him and Matt Boldy had a monster game last game. So again, just pick this guy up and roster him on your team, please. And then Michael Bunting has been surprisingly filling the back of the net as well, getting a ton of power play points on that top power play. So look to pick him up. He's been hot as well if you're looking for somebody low ownership. If you're in a deeper league, should be a solid option for this upcoming week. On to defensemen, you guys know the drill. Not a lot of quality options. Noah Hanifin and Jonas Brodin have both been really, really good in their last kind of 5 to 10-ish games. Brodin's been a lot more consistent in terms of production. And I think, they both give you decent options. I think Hanifin, obviously skating on that Vegas second power play, has more upside in terms of production than Brodin does. But again, it's up to you guys. They're both skating pair 1, power play 2. Same schedule for the week, so pick and choose. If you're in a deeper league, you're obviously going with Brodin. If you're in a more shallow league, you could go with Hanifin if you want to go alongside him, who I think, again, just has a little bit more upside on that Vegas second power play unit. Ty Smith has been skating on the power play 1. They haven't been running Burns there at all, which is kind of bizarre in my opinion, but I digress. Ty Smith is the power play 1 defenseman in Carolina right now, with Shane Gostisbehere being out. So if you're in a deep league, definitely be sure to pick him up. And then if you're just trying to like high quality stream somebody for the second half of the week, they get 2 off nights. Similar to the min-max schedule that I mentioned earlier, he should be a great option. And then Sandin, if you want some power play exposure, skating power play 2, they've loaded up their top power play unit, actually. Like, obviously, Ovechkin skates on both power play units. He just sits there. So I think Sandin, again, all he has to do is pass the buck to Ovi for a 1T, and he gets you a good chunk of points just there in and of itself. But they load on that top power play unit. It's John Carlson and Jacob Chychrun. Chychrun's been amazing, but again, he's like 88% owned, so unlikely that you're going to be able to get to him for a stream. But Sandy's been solid. Again, pair 1, power play 2, skates alongside John Carlson at 5-on-5. So again, if you want some, I think he's a really good option for this upcoming week, given his schedule. And if you can't get to Sandin and you just want somebody that's going to fill some peripherals for you, Martin Fehervary is a block and hit machine. Really good option. Doesn't really shoot the puck too much, won't chip in offensively, but if you're in a categories league and you want some hits and blocks, or if you're just like in a deep league and you want some like good solid floor for the week, free off nights, hits and blocks, like he's just an absolute machine when it comes to that. So look to grab Fehervary if you need him. Moving on to goaltenders, Trent Miner is called up now with Scott Wedgwood being put onto IR. January 8th against Chicago is an off night and should be a very quality matchup for the Abs, who have been absolutely lights out lately after getting Mackenzie Blackwood, who just looks like an absolute steal. If you guys got to him once you saw that trade get out, he's been lights out for the Abs so far, especially with that contract extension now in place. Looks very comfortable there. Casey DeSmith is either going to get the game against Montreal or the game against Ottawa. They're on the road. Dallas is a really strong home team, but when it comes to their road games, they're a little bit average. But DeSmith has been very solid. Arguably, like, has better stats than Ottawa right now, obviously with a very minimal sample size, but should be a relatively good option given Dallas against either of these teams. And then Fleury, again, same old, same old. You're targeting some of the best teams in the league. You're trying to find good matchups. San Jose's not very good. They've been a lot better than I thought, actually. Like, I think they have a making of a really good team, but again, just Minnesota's been so good, even with Kaprizov being out of the lineup, and Fleury should see start of a back-to-back against San Jose on the 11th. And then Jackson Stauber, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, is going to get an off night against San Jose on a Utah back-to-back. He's been really good since he's been called up, actually, so keep an eye on him as things go forward with Ingram being on IR still. I think he's a really good option, especially given an off night against the Sharks. Guys, that'll do it for this video. Leave a like and hit that subscribe button. We will have some content coming out this week. I know I said I was going to try and get one out next week. Got super busy, so apologies on that. My holiday is just coming to an end here, so getting back into the swing of things at work. So look forward to some more content from us coming up, especially around like trade targets and buy sell lows and players that we should be panicking on. So we should have some good content coming up for you guys in the next little bit here. So stay tuned for that. Good luck in your Week 14 matchups for Fantasy Hockey.